tried everything. We've tried turning the box on and off. We've tried scheduling it for a specific time. We've tried, yeah, it's now telling me it's upcoming again. We're on. We're live. So, we are on there this time. So let's hope. Let's hope that we are on YouTube. Yeah, we're going to leave putting it on. We're going to leave our live stream on Facebook, because let's hope we have got something on YouTube. So yeah, if anybody is there as well, any comments would be much appreciated. Right, as you can see then, we've got Thomas the Woodcarver on the... Yeah, Thomas the Woodcarver's going to get started on the scroll saw. I say started, it's about the third time he's been doing it, because we can't get this thing working properly again. And I'm on the bench carving. So what we're trying to do is to try and work our way through these problems so we can bring you some decent live streams. I can see, yeah, there's 5 people have joined us now. I'm going to have a drink because this is stressful. Not that sort of drink, just a drink of water. But basically, what we want to do, see, we want to bring you live streams where you can see different things going on at the same time. So here at the moment, I'm going to demonstrate some carving for you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of teething problems that we're having. So, for instance, yeah, keep an eye on it for me if you could. See if everything is working as it should be. Now, the idea was Thomas the Woodcarver was going to be scroll sawing in the other room. Who not boom? Let me know. Let me know if it's all working okay, because the plan was Thomas the Woodcarver was going to be scroll sawing in the back, and I'd be carving in here. But unfortunately, I don't know why, but the box will not work using the extensions. So we're live streaming with just the short leads, the short cables. Which means you can have the background noise of the scroll saw. But it does mean that you can see the two things at the same time. So, with the carving, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to just add a little bit of detail to our tree of life. And that is the sort of process that we're just working our way through. We're just adding a little bit of detail to each of the leaves. So hopefully that'll add to the character of the carving. Thomas the Woodcarver at the same time is just cutting everything out. Have you got any videos I can watch as a newbie? My scroll saw is still in the box, but I want to learn from unpacking. Yeah, there's a number of different videos on the channel where we focus. That's probably the thing that we do the most videos on, is actually helping get started with scroll sawing. So the scroll saw tips, those videos are useful. Also the scroll saw techniques, so we go through different techniques. In the scroll saw tips videos as well, we actually go through some of the techniques that you can use to set up your machine. Now I know it has been commented before that the setup that we suggest, because we suggest bolting everything down, is a bit of work, but it is worth spending the time going through that process of bolting everything to the floor, because you get a better cut on what you're doing. So yeah, there's loads on the channel, Troy. Well worth searching through, and hopefully then you'll be able to find some different things, some different videos that will be useful. So yeah, plenty of info on getting started with the scroll saw. Right, as you can see, this one here, we're just building up the different cuts, the different stop cuts, and then just shaping it a little bit. One thing with using the good quality lighting, you do notice a little bit that this gouge, for instance, could possibly do with a little bit of touching up, because I am noticing a few little lines as I'm cutting everything out. So that is one little issue, and yeah, we're just using that just like so, and building up those different stop cuts. And then afterwards, what I also will do is to put a line, just to add just a little finishing touch, to the leaves themselves, just like so. There we are. So you can see it just adds a little bit extra, just gives a little bit extra to the carving of the tree of life. Now hopefully as well, having the two side-by-side views, hopefully it just gives you a little bit of a better insight then what Dad is doing. He's cutting out that basic outline of our well, a carving that hopefully I'll get a chance to go on to afterwards. So he's just using the scroll saw. That cuts that basic profile, which then allows us later on to then carve all of that. Here we are, try it. I will be watching some of them. Thank you for your time you put into these tutorials. No, not at all. It's always a pleasure, and that's basically what we try to do, is to give all sorts of different ideas and different techniques and methods to hopefully help out anybody who's interested in making things in woods. Well, there we are. So far, so good. Yeah, let us know in the comment section as well. Is everything going okay? Because can you see everything okay? Would you prefer to have, for instance, would you prefer to a carving, or are you happy to have a little bit of split screen going on, where you can see the two things at the same time? Let us know in the comment section what your sort of preferences are. You haven't pressed, turn it off, yeah, and then turn it back on. Yeah, and now we got the scroll saw. There we go. Sometimes if that button doesn't get pressed properly, it does that, but I've never had it do it as long as that before. There you go. It's what it is. That machine is 25 years old, and if you don't press the button right in, fairly sort of firmly, it doesn't. For some reason, it doesn't sort of. If it has. So far, it's grand. There we are. Brilliant. All the challenges we've had just to get back to here. Yeah, it's basically that this box, it does lots of clever things, but so far it's not doing the basics. And we're wood carvers, we're not so hot on the technology, so unfortunately until it starts working for us properly, it's proven a bit challenging. I'm fine with technology as long as it works. So that's one of the main things with it. Right, so we're just using the gouges just to get the different shapes. And again, we'll just get the different levels, get the different layers working for us. And you've got that one there. Any questions as well as we're going along, get them into us. Hopefully it'll give you a good idea now where you'll be able to see the process that we go through, where Thomas the Woodcarver initially is cutting everything out, and then afterwards I'll do a little bit of hand carving on that Christmas design that he's cutting. Let's have a little look. We've got that one there, and we've got that one there as well. Right. Okay. So I have no idea with this box whether it was this, because I didn't put a schedule time on it or something like that. I have no idea what it's what the issues are, which is part of the frustration of working with these different things when it comes to technology, is if you can't figure out why it's not working, it's a bit of a challenge, eh? Anyway, back to the carving and back to the scroll sawing. I'm going to have a quick check. Thomas the Woodcarver's still working on the internal cuts. So that's the way we do it. See, we do all of that pierce work first of all. And then once you've done the pierce work, you then cut the surround. So that's our preference with what we were talking about when it comes to methods and techniques. That's our sort of preference, is to do it that way. Get all of the pierce work, the internal cuts, get them nice and clean. And then afterwards, we add that sort of detail to everything.
One more eternal cut.
Eternal cut, I think that's a very appropriate.
One more internal cut.
Internal cut, yeah. And then we'll have that job sorted out. And what I might do then is to bring the other camera across. Although you've got other things there to cut out, haven't you? So yeah, Thomas the Woodcarver's got. And what you will see, what he's doing at the moment is he's stack cutting, so he's cutting out 2 layers at a time. And when he goes on to the next one, yeah, this was, thank you for the carver as well, with you sharing that one. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is that up until now, we would just, normally I would set it all up on YouTube and then go through OBS Studio onto YouTube. But this one, for some reason, this doesn't seem to work like that. And so I think you have to like put in a time when you want to start. And I don't understand why I need to do that, and that's why I kept on trying to stream and it wasn't working. And then it's a bit disconcerting because I'm trying to stream on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, but then you get these messages from Facebook telling you that there's a problem with the Wi-Fi. Well, I know that I've got an Ethernet cable, because what it is, the Wi-Fi doesn't extend to the workshop. So with the Ethernet cable then it's fine, because I know that's going straight into the home hub. So unless that loses Wi-Fi, there shouldn't be a problem. But there we are. These are the challenges that we go through. This is what we have to try and figure out to try and bring everybody a live stream, and hopefully we'll get to grips with it.
It's a good job. that Santa Claus is not relying on this equipment to deliver
Any
Christmas
presents?
presents.
Yeah, absolutely, because
It's a good job.
be a lot of disappointed boys and girls because
it's a good job he's using the reindeers.
I mean the difficulty we've got see is that we've spent out on this, and so far unfortunately we've invested in it to try and bring you all an improved live stream. That's the plan. In practice, so far we haven't got back to where we were before we were using it, so
It's like a good idea at the time.
it's not a good advert for the product, I'm afraid. So yeah, there you go. This is a YOLO box that we're working. So if anybody from YOLO box is interested on it, so far your product has caused us a lot more problems than it's solved, unfortunately.
Yeah. Put that cut in there, follow the pencil line or do you want it?
No, I would do it like a Christmas decoration, surround like that and then over like that. So follow the pencil line. I cut it out like that to make it easier for me to cut out, that's all.
No, wait a minute. You want to follow the pencil line down there?
Yeah, the pencil line round there and round there.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. That'll be great. So there we go. So you can see this is the method that we use, is to get everything sort of prepped out, ready on the scroll saw first of all, and afterwards then we'll use the hand carving skills to add the extra sort of detail, those finer details that we're looking for. Right, so let's add a few more little lines. Another one just in by there. Here we go, we get asked a lot, what do you do when it goes wrong? You just cover up your mistake. So there we've lost a little bit of the leaf. So flatten everything back down, just like so. Here we are, just cut that back down like so. Same again. Flatten this down. So that's the basic answer when it comes to wood carving. If something goes wrong, if you make a little mistake, there's always that solution of cutting further down into the wood. Yeah, they're super glued together, they are. There we are. So that's one of the methods we use then when it comes to stack cutting. You can super glue together the two layers, and then by doing that, that allows us to cut out multiple layers at the same time. Just like so. There we are. And then continue with those stock cuts, and you're just building up.
Oh, you know, it's Santa Claus. There he is.
Have we got a Santa?
Yeah, we've got a Santa.
Brilliant.
We've probably got two now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we checked the blade.
Yeah, so Thomas Woodcarver's checking the blade, checking it is cutting right, because
Yeah.
if it's not cutting as you want it to, if you're not happy with it, then it's always worth changing that blade over.
See, it's blue.
You can see a little bit of blue on the blade.
A lot of blue.
A lot of blue on it,
Yeah. So, you're going to change the blade?
Yeah, because if you've got a lot of blue on it, the chances are it's going to burn the wood, and all that does is it gives you extra work when it comes to the
The
finishing
job I was making,
later on.
this decorations,
Yeah.
and you can put a spot. I thought you stuck those together. You have. They separated. No, there we are.
There we go. Yeah.
So, you can always put a tiny bit of stain inside if there's any burn marks on that one. Whereas
Yeah,
this one
so-
we're making now, the Lovespoon.
So just to go over, because what it is, your microphone's not on. So what it is that, yeah, anything, you know, in terms of, if you have got any blue, you know, where on the blade, that is likely to burn it. But what you can do is to use some stain, because it's mahogany. Mahogany takes stain well, and darker woods are popular. So you can always just add a little dab of stain to the finish. Just stain it, just paint on that stain, and it'll cover up any
I got a little tip. Yeah,
issues you've got. Thomas Woodcarver's tip.
Blade on, okay. I don't know whether I can see it on the camera. Can you see it there?
Yeah, you should be able. Yeah, you can just see where Thomas the Woodcarver is changing the blade at the side.
Yeah, I'm just roughing it up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm roughing the blade up a bit because sometimes I find it slips.
Yeah, so a little beginner's tip, if you just use, depending on the type of blade, if you just use a little bit of an abrasive just to rough the blade, you can sometimes find that it reduces the chances of it slipping.
Yeah.
So it just improves that blade holding in the blade holder. So just a little method that we use. Rough up the blade if you're finding that it's slipping in the blade holder. Now you'll notice as well, what I'm doing as I'm going along, I'm sort of getting different depth and different levels on this tree of life carving. We're adding detail, and remember, because this is a tree, you're thinking about the bark and the leaves. We can leave it that sort of textured finish.
I should have shown everybody this one when I'm doing it. I'm guessing, is it a maple leaf there?
It's a maple leaf on the top.
Oh,
Yeah, an impression of a maple leaf. The symbols then that we got on that Lovespoon, we got a maple leaf, we've got, there's a pretzel on there. We've got, what else have we got on there? Maple leaf, a pretzel, I think there's a dragon on there. I'll have a look on the camera, see if I can see. Maple leaf, a pretzel, that's on the top. Yeah, so you can add all sorts of different symbols to your Lovespoons. And that's how, you know, we've sort of learned how to do all sorts of different things, is by developing our skills, really, making bespoke Lovespoons for people, making one-off spoons. And then from there, you know, you learn all sorts of different things. And you get the opportunity to scroll saw and carve lots of different things too. So it's always good for helping you develop your skills. Right, any thoughts as well, any questions as we're going along? Give us a shout, because it's always good if we can help anybody out, anybody who's learning. And as well, any questions with the carving itself. That's another aspect of what we do a lot of. You're just taking away that waste wood that you don't want until you get that shape. Have you got the Father Christmas there as well for us?
Father Christmas coming over.
Father Christmas. Brilliant. There we are. So we got that one ready to go. So I'll have the top layer. Just see a little bit of burning on there.
I always find that the first sort of cuts on it is the most difficult. And right at the top of the spoon.
I was going to say, if you're right at the top or you're right down the bottom, that can make it more challenging. Where you have the sort of the two extremes.
It's not so easy to balance the.
It can be a bit more difficult to sort of control the wood, isn't it?
Just a little bit, because it's obviously got a long piece.
Yeah. Just right at the top. I find when you're cutting out the surrounds and you go right to the top. Oh, hello Maple Tree Studios. Good afternoon. Hope all is well. Yeah, I find when you're right at the top, it can be quite difficult then to control. You know, if you're right at the top of the piece, that can be a bit of a challenge. Alright, so we're going to go in there, I think. That's what I'm doing all the time, is to just pick and choose where we do each individual stop cut. Like so. I think we'll come right the way around there. I think we'll sort of form a leaf right in there. Gives it that appearance of it sort of wrapping around. Splendid. Hope all is well with you. Hope all is good, and always great seeing what everybody else is making. I know as well, anybody interested in the carving side of things, have a little check out of the carver's latest video. I just been watching that before we went live. So yeah, a nice carving, a nice bear carving this time. So well worth checking out. Always great to see what everybody else is up to.
You mentioned as well, I'm using a piece of mahogany, recycled mahogany there.
Yeah, well, the Santas were recycled mahoganies. The other of our spoon for the year is a recycled piece of wood, a piece of teak. And now this one that we're carving with here, this is a piece of ash. So yeah, all sorts of different timbers that we're working with. Now I've made another little mistake where we've gone too hard. So again, I'll have to carve that deeper into the woods to try and take the mistake out. Just like so. So we go deeper down into the woods. Like so. Just like so. Same with this one. Just using that like so. So anytime people ask us a lot, what do you do when it goes wrong? There's always a solution. There's always something we can do. That's the main sort of protocol. If something doesn't quite go as you want it to, just carve it deeper into the wood. Let us know as well your thoughts. What do you think with the split screen? The plan is eventually to have the split screen. Well, the plan today was to have the split screen, and Dad would have been in the background in the room behind. He would have been working in there, and I would have been carving on the bench. Excuse me. Unfortunately though, yeah, problems with the setup, so he's had to use the scroll saw in here. But yeah, let us know what you think. What do you think with the split screen, seeing two things at once? And my plan is to get our...
I'm not on the mic, am I?
You're not, no. You can just about hear you, but it's the microphone, the sound is coming off the one here. So you'll be able to hear the scroll saw loud and clear.
Okay, well what I would say, if I get a bit closer, I must say, as I was starting to work, I was starting to enjoy, cutting the piece of wood.
Yeah.
And the first thing and the most important thing, when I served my time, I did my apprenticeship. What it was, these two...
I'd point so people can hear you better. That's it.
There.
Yeah, so what it is, they won't be able to hear you as well. That's it.
You want me around there?
Yeah, so if you...
Oh, he's a very fussy boy, this lad, but there we are. Going back to what I was saying, when I served my apprenticeship, one of the important things that I learned and I was told by the carpenters, it was, they were so good to give you advice, and it was let the saw do the work.
Yeah.
And for anybody out there, it's really important, whether you're using a hand saw, whatever saw you're using, let the saw do the work.
Yeah, I mean, the scroll saw's an interesting one, isn't it? Where you do have to feed it a little bit.
Yeah, but you mustn't
but
push
you
it.
mustn't push the saw because it won't cut to its best.
As soon as you start to push, as soon as you can start to feel that resistance,
yeah,
you've got to ask the question, is the blade sharp? You know? And that's really important. Let the saw do the work.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Now this one here, how's this coming along? What's your thoughts? Because this is our Lovespoon to record the year. And
let's have a look. Let's see what we do.
I think it's going to be a good idea because I've been trying to get it done, and it is interesting. We've been trying to get it done through the live streams.
So explain to me now what it's all about.
Well, basically, you've got the tree of life because it's sort of enduring. You've got that, that strength. You've got that eternity. Those sorts of ideas with it.
Okay.
And then you've got the sunflower representing sort of. James Anderson saying there loves the split screen. Brilliant. Serve your time. What kind of colourful brass do you have, Thomas? Yeah, there's a different version, isn't it, of serving time. That's what they refer to it as apprenticeship, because of course serving time is also serving time if you've done your crime.
Well, the thing is, I was very fortunate to.
Well, put it this way: he served his time in a psychiatric hospital, didn't he?
Yeah,
but he was a maintenance carpenter there.
It was excellent because you learned, you came to appreciate the situation with mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is.
Well, your background, you did some occupational therapy and things like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there for not quite about 9 years altogether.
Yeah.
And it served me for the rest of my life because you came to understand. I met people from all walks of life, that had different sort of we'll say illnesses and problems and that kind of thing, and it just set you up. And I was fortunate to be taught by various carpenters. I just I wish that younger people today could have the same sort of experiences that I had, and that my apprenticeship was 5 years. So
I've done it. You get a 5-year apprenticeship
now. It's just not the same.
No, absolutely.
Which is a real shame. But that's where I served my time. That's what they used to call it, and it was a really good experience.
Well, I think we're getting here with this in terms of we're getting something that resembles it.
Again,
it's a piece of ash.
I was going to say, it looks like ash.
Yeah.
So what's the reason for the ash, for the Lovespoon for the year?
Well, we originally thought of that, because we were thinking, in years to come, how sort of available will it be?
Oh, of course, yes.
To us?
Yes, because of the ash.
Because of ash dieback, and so we thought,
go back to my.
You carry on there. You carry on.
There we are.
Thomas the Woodcarver's going back to the other screen, the other camera. So yeah, I think that brings us. I'll just turn that round. Turn that round in the vice.
I don't know whether.
Well, as I'm looking, it may move in a minute, but I think everybody can still see.
Okay.
I think so. I think we're all still okay.
You said this is the maple leaf as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I did see it move, but you're still in shot.
I'm okay.
If anything, you've done a good adjustment there. So yeah, we got our tree of life. I'm going to do a little bit of carving in this direction.
So that's what you call a deliberate mistake then, do you? Right?
Yeah, deliberate mistake. Nice bit of camera work by Thomas the Woodcarver to adjust the position. And so what we'll do, see, we'll just keep. Let's have a little look. Yeah, we just take off any little bits that we feel are necessary. Like so. Yeah, a little bit off here. So we're just looking for anywhere where we feel just needs a little bit of extra work at this stage. But all in all, I'm quite happy with that. That's coming along quite nicely. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go on to Santa. Let's have a little look. Yeah, that's lovely. And we're going to show you how we carve Santa now. And the first thing, again, carving. So there's techniques and methods that we use with the scroll sawing. The same, you've got techniques and methods that we use with the I'm just going to have a look as well. Is that on the right setting? 0. Yeah. So what if I push that 0? Bear with me. Right. Is that? No, that's pushed it down. So that's better if we go up like that. There we are. That's better. Right. Yeah, carving is basically building up a series of stock cuts and then using that stock cut as a barrier. So for this one, see, we put 2 stock cuts straight away and we'll use that to build up that sleeve. This one we have to go a little bit more delicately because there's nothing sort of to support it. So that would be the sort of weak point when it comes to this particular piece. So, you know, we've got all sorts of, you're working out all sorts of different things, but that is the weak point because it's not, that one is stronger than this one because that's attached to the solid, as this one is more free. So yeah, you just have to be that little bit careful when we're cutting that one there. So there we go, just like so, and you're just using that stock cut as a barrier that we can use to carve into. Right, now the next one, we're just going to work a little bit on the ear and then we're going to work our way around with the hat. And what you're working on is which bits you're going to bring out and which bits you're going to push back. So that's the process then, is to just decide which parts of the carving need to come out, which parts of the carving can we push back. And we just develop it. So this is the way we do. What would you describe this as? Is the technical term relief carving? Is this relief carving as opposed to sculpture?
Yes, so a low relief carving.
Low relief carving, that's it. Low relief carving, Thomas Woodcarver is informing me. These sorts of different terms and stuff, because we just sort of grew up around it, doing it, we don't really sort of think about all that sort of thing too much. We just do it. Right, and then we're going to curl that round just like so. And then same again on this piece. That is going to curve around just like so. Right, so the top of the hat.
I slowed up because I was just checking. I didn't quite like the shape that you were drawing on the heart.
Right.
So I just adjusted it a little bit.
There we are, see? So that's what you'll find. Sometimes you just make little adjustments, as Thomas Woodcarver's doing. You make little adjustments as you go in.
Just for showing everybody, I just adjusted it for there to match up on that side over there.
So you make little adjustments just to improve, develop, or alter as you feel fit. Right, again, we got the glove we're going to do some work on.
It's recycled mahogany, by the way.
Yeah. Thomas Woodcarver just explaining, if you can't hear him, that it's recycled wood, reclaimed. So we're just going to work our way around, and you can see we can't stick sort of rigidly to the lines, so I'm going to simplify that nose as well. I'm just going to leave it as that, because what it is, you have to sometimes adjust your carving to fit the gouges, to fit the tools. Again, we're just building it all up, getting the different shapes, just preparing it all. So the eyes we can just push back into the head a little bit, just make some of the other bits of carving easier if we push the eyes back. So that's what you're doing, see, deciding which will be best to bring out, which is best to push back. Now that would go into the nose like so. Hello from Quebec. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, tips and techniques. I enjoy your videos very much. Oh, very grateful. Thank you, Guy. And thank you for supporting our YouTube channel. Yeah, we're having a few little ups and downs at the moment with our live streams because we're working with some new equipment. So it's taken us a while to get everything right, but once we do, we're hoping it'll be a big improvement, a big development. But we'll get there. We'll keep trying. We keep trying to figure out what the problems are, and hopefully then we'll sort everything out as we go along. You can still see Thomas the Woodcarver is cutting out on the scroll saw. I'm carving on the bench. Our extensions, I'm afraid, didn't work, so that's why things are a bit closer, a bit more background noise than we were sort of anticipating originally, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how things sort of operate in our workshop. Right, so the mouth then, see, we know that that needs to go back. So we can start pushing that back straight away. And it's that process, that gradual process of deciding which pieces you're going to push back that starts to give you the shape on your individual carving. How's that spoon coming along there?
Yeah, it's coming on slowly.
Taking shape?
Yeah, I just forgot to light the fire up.
Right, now we need a full stopper. So we can do the eyes. Although having said that, we may end up carving this one deeper. So depending on how things go, we may end up pushing those eyes back. Whenever you're doing the carving, eyes are always an important one to try and get the best you can. Yeah, I think with this as well then, see the hat of course is on top of the head, so that goes more towards the outside. The beards and the moustache then, that would be more again towards the outside of the carving. So you're just working out in your head as you go along which of the layers that are going to be brought out, which are the layers that are going to be pushed back. These are the things with the wood carving side of things. We're more comfortable with that in many ways, aren't we? And the scroll sawing, you know, the different woodworking jobs, we're comfortable with that. And if something goes wrong with those things, we're pretty good in terms of 99 times out of 100. We know the reason why it goes wrong, and we know the solution. That's an interesting comparison. This, okay, this is an interesting one. Hey. Possibly, but it's an interesting comparison with technology and wood carving, see, because with the wood carving and with the scroll sawing, if we get a problem, if something goes wrong, if there's an issue, I mean, even now with that machine where it started going slowly, I told you, it's because you've got to, you know, the button's a little bit sticky and you've got to give it a firm press to get it to go. So we're pretty comfortable with it, aren't we? But with the technology, so for instance, we've managed to get this live stream up and running today, but I got no clue what the problem was. So
I'm off again.
right. Hopefully now we're starting to get the layers and the levels working better. That arm has to go out the way. Midnight Scroller, hello there. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Good to have you with us. We've managed a live stream. It was touch and go. Yeah, hope all is well. As with all of you, I hope all is well. What brand of carving tools do you recommend? Right, good question. we use quite a sort of wide variety of different carving tools. A lot of what we're working in are actually recycled. Oh, Thomas the Woodcarver's gone. I know what's happened now. The camera battery on Thomas the Woodcarver has gone down. So we've lost Thomas the Woodcarver. There we are. We'll go across to the single screen now.
Okay,
Okay, so you're done on there.
very good.
Yeah, the battery has run out on the little action camera, but didn't do bad. Yeah, carving tools recommend. Right, we use vintage ones. So the one that I'm working with at the moment is a Herring Brothers gouge. We use a lot of Addis gouges. If you're looking for recommending different ones though, those are vintage ones, and where you can find them, where you do come across them.
I'll leave that for there for you, Dave.
Thank you very much. If we'll show everybody, that's the progress that we had. Thomas the Woodcarver got to. Yeah, we use Addis and we use Herring Brothers. Those are the two main ones, and they're all vintage gouges. The way we go about sourcing them, if you go on, brilliant, thanks Ed. If we go on eBay, for instance, you can quite often find by searching for vintage wood carving chisels, you will quite often come across those ones. A lot of it, when it comes to what we're doing then, it's actually the number, so the sweep of the tool. So this one I'm working with, for instance, I'll check it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a number 3. So number 3s, number 4s, number 5s, number 6s, those are good in terms of the sweep. And then in terms of the width of them, anything from
Not bad either.
a couple of millimeters. No,
The German ones.
yeah, German ones. That's a company called Hero. But there's, if you can't come across it, there are some modern ones. They're not as good as the vintage ones, but they will do a job for you. Things like Henry Taylor's, Ashley Isles, Robert Sorby. Those are all sort of good tool makers here in the UK. But the vintage ones are my own sort of preference. If you have a look on the channel, some of our older content, the problem is because we've done a lot of different videos, is finding it. But there is one on specifically on that subject of our favourite sort of wood carving tools. But that's what you want, is a variety of different sweeps, and then different widths, different sweeps, different widths, and then you want good quality steel. That's why we go for the vintage ones, because the steel is brilliant. I know, for instance, it's worth check out the Carver's channel, so you see the Carver doing some carving and uses knives and things like that. Oh, we've got a footballer coming in, and his name is Sammy. Hello, Sammy. How are you? You right?
Yeah.
Good, good. He's all ready in his football kit.
Hi, Sammy.
I'll just check now. I got a little bit more time before we're ready to go, Sammy, because he's got his football training I take him to tonight. So he's having a little look at that. And then there's, yeah, we'll go down there, and it's a bit of a chillier one tonight for being down there, but he enjoys his football, so I bought a new fleece. But it's certainly, the temperatures here are starting to drop. So yeah, that's the sort of insight into the different gouges that we work with. And then the other thing you want is a good sharpening system. I think that pretty much covers everything on gouges there for that question, does it?
Well, a lot of people, you know, they come in the workshop and they say, "Oh, I've got chisels like that.
Yeah.
My father left them to me or something like that," and they leave them in a shed.
There we are, the Carver's saying as well. Sorry to cut across you. 2 Cherry is a good German brand, and File is a good Swiss-made tool.
Yeah.
You can find in the States. Yeah, we've seen those ones a number of times. File, not so much. I haven't come across the other one, the German one, but File, yeah, we've come across them.
Try not to leave them though in a shed or something like that. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people leave them.
Protect them.
Yeah.
Cover them. Put a
Bit of oil on
put
them.
some oil on them, and
Yeah, that sort of thing.
wrap them in a bit of leather or a bit of cloth, and try and keep a bit of oil on
Try
them.
to look after them, isn't
Check
it?
them every now and again, because
They do deteriorate.
yeah.
You know, I mean, even here now, when we're using them every day, sometimes you're coming in on the weekend, and if it's been because it's, you know, Wales is quite a lot of damp, a lot of moisture, that sort of thing. You'll come in and you can feel they got a little bit of oxidation on them.
Yeah.
It's surprising how quickly they do deteriorate. But yeah, any of those, and as I said, that's what you want then, is a good sharpening system to maintain them. So you can see what we do with the carving seat. You try and build up as much as you can all the different stock cuts. Try to prepare.
You're making an impression of Santa Claus, that's what it is.
Here we are, Midnight Scroll saying thank you. No, you're very welcome. Yeah, it's an impression, exactly that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right, so we're going to change over. We're going to go for one of the bigger gouges now. But it just shows you, this is our sort of, what would you call it? Now we need a
Bread and butter.
bread and butter. I was thinking that. Bread and butter, this is for us, where you're using that combination where you're cutting out on the scroll saw. So that's the first part of the process. Cut it all out on the scroll saw, and then afterwards use the hand tools to create the image. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're doing. So we've cut it initially on the scroll saw, and then afterwards you can create that image using the different hand carving tools. Right, so let's have a little look. You're just building that up, just getting that detail. It's surprising with this one, there's a fair amount of carving involved in it, but we're getting there. Like so. And as well, I did have a little video to show everyone, but I think we will roll that one onto the next video, onto the next live stream if we can get it going. Oh, Michael, hello there. Hope all is well. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, great to have you with us. Treating my favourite tools aren't my newest ones. They are the tools with someone else's name scratched into the steel. Yeah, or you get them here. The popular thing is to stamp them on the wood. So, for instance, let's have a little look at some of the ones we've got. This one, you've got an RF Rene, would you say? RAYNET. Raynet. RF Raynet. That's the original owner then, the only name stamped on that one. This one's got a few. I think we got H.A. Morgan, who Dad knew. And then G. Dolan or Doolin or...
Donnelly, isn't it?
Yeah. G. Donnelly, is it?
I think so.
There we are. So there's a few different names then on that one. And then this one's very clear. It's S. Connellan. So it's really interesting with the gouges how they all sort of have a history of their own. So yeah, the actual tools will have a whole history themselves with the different people who've owned them over the years. Right, so with this now, we're just trying to build up as much of the carving as we can. We've got pretty much all the stock cuts done, and now we've got this one here. Need to take a little bit of detail out of that one, like so. I'm missing a gouge.
This one?
No, that one. I got him. So what we do then, see, is we just deciding now which parts of that carving need to be pushed down and things. Yes, and I spent the summer making stuff. Yeah, and then Michael's made some lovely stuff. What do you refer to as whirligigs, I think is what you refer to them as. That's the one that you make a fair bit of, and yeah, all sorts of different ones. Very impressive.
Have we done anything online with these, Dave? That I'm working on?
Yeah, we've done a couple of videos on letter openers, not for a little while, but we have done some different ones on the letter
We'll have to
openers.
do them because they're a nice little seller they are.
They are, yeah, we do letter openers. I mean, anybody looking for gift ideas, letter openers do well for us. Also, let me think, key rings, fridge magnets, all simple little gift items always do very well here at the workshop. And we've been starting to have plenty of interest in the Christmas things. So if you're looking for ideas to make, you'll see on some of our different videos we got different Christmas products, and they all prove quite good for keeping us busy throughout the winter. Right, so we're just going to get a little bit of an angle on his ear, like so. Shape the back of it. Add, oh, we got that one there. Got that one there. Or is that it? Ah, I got him. That's what it is. Add a little bit of detail as well to the ear. So all these little bit of detail, little bit of character that adds to the carving. We then go around the eyes. So a lot of what we're doing as well, what we always say to people, is trying to get the minimum amount of work that we can get away with for the maximum impact. Because for ourselves, see, time, we're always up against time. So you've got to maximise it, maximise the impact on the carvings that we do.
Yeah, because with a small business, there's
Lots of brushes.
There's lots of bureaucracy that you have to
deal with.
Yeah, and that does tend to frustrate you.
Yeah,
and especially
it does.
when you can't get the camera to work.
Ah, yeah. I mean, you buy the equipment on the premise that it'll do the job. And as we said, we're wood carvers, so getting half of this stuff to work sometimes is a bit of a stress.
Not to worry.
I mean, up to date, we spent a lot of money to get back to where we were before. But there we are. Such is life. Now, hopefully you can just start to see it taking shape. I want to go back over the stock cuts here. I'm going to check the time so Sammy's not getting worried about missing his football.
What time is it?
I make it 20 to, just for ourselves, 20 to 5.
Right.
Just about. So you can see we just work our way around the top.
He's football crazy.
He does, he likes a game of football.
Oh man.
I think especially with the World Cup and all that sort of thing, I think there's a lot of them that are into it at the moment. They're seeing a lot of it on the telly, so. Although they don't watch much telly, those boys. Right, this is how it looks. Same again. Just get a little bit of detail in like so. Right, now the nose then. We're going to shape it all, but there we are. Just shaping it all like so. Same again with this round the face. But probably with a lot of the eyes and things like that, I'm thinking we're going to have to go a little bit deeper into the wood again, just to bring it out. Right, so that is just a pretty much, I'm going to turn it around so I can see, but hopefully that gives you a good idea. Yeah, you carry on. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of that individual carving, like so. There we are. We can use that one to just shape a little bit around his trousers. And then the same again, that will go in like so. And slowly but surely, we're starting to build up the carving. And that belt is one of the highest sort of parts, because that's pulling his stomach in. And this one here, as you can see, we're just getting that little bit of detail on everything that we do. Just to finish off, we get that little bit of fleecing. Oh, Michael says, I like the ornaments. Glad you like it, Michael. Yeah, this one we first demonstrated doing this one a few years ago. Not one that I do very frequently. I do wheel out a few of them for Christmas. I don't do too many of them because there's a lot of carving involved, a lot of time involved in this particular one, as you can see from the demonstration. Let's have a little look. What else we got on there? Yeah, just a bit there. Like so. A little bit round the... Alright, I'm just going to be careful there. I'd rather carve back this way, because it'll take out otherwise. That's one thing you've got to always look at, is the direction of the grain. You don't want a big splinter coming out and spoiling everything. Right, I'll just shape a little bit on there and on there. Like so. And then just to finish off, we can use, we're just going to use the gouges just to go over some of the details. Just to add a little bit of definition. Just to add a little bit more, just basically trying to bring out a little bit more where we've done the carvings. Let's have a little look. Around there, like so. And then these ones, right, so we get a little bit more depth on the eyes as well. Just push them into the carving just a little bit, just to bring them out, just to try and bring them out a little bit more. Yeah, same with that one, just down into the wood. Like so. There we are. Just giving the depth that we're trying to get into the carving itself. And then the final part, for now, there is a little bit more work that we got to finish off on this one, but we just go back over the full stops to the eyes, give it a little sand. And hopefully you can start to see the essence of how that carving will look. There we go. Hopefully, hopefully you've enjoyed the split screen. If you didn't see that, yeah, rewind it a bit and you'll see how that all works. You can see the two things going on. So you can see the two things going on at the same time. So you can see the scroll sawing and the wood carving going on at the same time. But yeah, any questions though as well, any comments, get them into us, and hopefully we'll be able to help you out. Thanks again for joining us. We will persevere. Hopefully each week we will learn something new about some of the issues we've got with this live streaming at this moment in time, and keep improving them for you all. Hope you all have a great week. And yeah, we'll be back again soon. Back to sketching some ideas there, Michael, as well. 4 foot of snow. Wow. It's gone colder here, but nothing like that. But there we are. Thank you for joining us. we're very grateful for the support and all the very best to you all.